Good morning. Welcome back. I'd like to thank you again for coming to our Tuesday Live. We're on Instagram and Facebook this morning. I'm Suzanne and I'm at Rogers Gardens. I'm a horticulturist here, and this morning we're going to be talking about hedges, the classic best of the best. And hedges are a plant that a lot of people need, a lot of people want, but nobody really knows how to go about getting just the right hedge. And so I brought my notes here. I just want to talk about a couple of important things to consider when you have a hedge. Hedges are a great thing. They can be a super dense thing. You can have a big wall of green around you and it's very classic looking and gorgeous. Or they can be light and loose and more of just like a visual boundary for you. I'm more of a visual boundary kind of person. I like the appearance of privacy, but I like to have a lot of light come in. And sometimes when you have these gigantic hedges around you, it can feel like kind of like a wall coming in on you. But it also is a great look. If you have a pool, you can have a big, beautiful, big, tall green hedge around it, and it's really, really nice to have that there as kind of a protection from wind and sun and everything. So whatever you're looking for, there is a hedge or hedge plants that can work for you. And so we're just going to talk a little bit about the classic hedge plant I feel is this one here. This is Ligustrum or waxleaf privet. We sell a lot of this here at Rogers Gardens. It is a great plant, and one of the reasons that it is truly a great plant is it grows fairly tall, fairly quickly. It grows very wide, and the most important thing is that it actually takes a bit of shade. A lot of other hedge plants don't, and when you're planting in between two houses, which a lot of us will do, Ligustrum is a great one because it can take that shade and it will still grow. Other plants will kind of defoliate or not be as happy, not grow as well, not be as thick, but Ligustrum is just a really good one for that. There are a couple of other ones that we'll discuss, but Ligustrum really is good. Sun, shade. It does have flowers in around March of the year, March, April. Some people love them, some people don't love them. You can always prune them off. It is a truly great plant. The one thing I would say about Ligustrum, as I'm going to say it with all of these hedge plants, is to plant them far enough apart that they're going to grow into a beautiful hedge instead of a really tight, full of sticks and wood hedge. It just looks a lot better when you're patient and you put them far enough apart that they can grow into each other. Some people can build, you can buy them really, really big and have an instant hedge, but if you're going to be planting them and waiting for a beautiful hedge, try and just put them about this particular plant, if you can, like 5 feet apart, maybe even 6, if you can be patient. If not, no closer than 3 feet apart. It's they'll just, when you start pruning them, you're going to have sticks, and stems, and then it'll take a while to fill back in again, and as it fills in, you're going to have to prune it again, and it eventually gets just a little too woody. So that is Ligustrum or waxleaf privet. There's this waxleaf privet is great for a big wall of green. There's another great one, kind of my personal favorite for the wall of green, is this Podocarpus. This is Podocarpus Graciliar. There are quite a few different Podocarpus. I'm going to pull in this one in just a little while, but Podocarpus Graciliar is a great plant, especially around pools. It has very little litter. The one thing that you will need to do with this is, again, plant it far enough apart so that it looks big and lush and light and loose, and it can look very, very full even though it's planted far apart, because you can see it's going to grow really wide as well as tall. But piece of advice on this is to always hose it down. Probably like once a week, every 2 weeks, hose it down. Get those little spider webs out of there. Get that environmental dirt out of there. Just do what you can to keep this plant clean, and you will have less of a problem with aphids or spider mites or whiteflies. This plant has a tendency to be put in places where it doesn't get a lot of air circulation, and so hosing it off occasionally will help a lot. It'll keep it looking fresher and more beautiful, and deep watering just once a week is going to make this plant look spectacular. A lot of people have Podocarpus that have been kind of hedged into ugliness, but deep watering and planting them far enough apart is going to keep them really happy with just the greenery. It's going to be beautiful. Okay, next up. This is kind of this is a super classic hedge. This is not quite as tall as some of these. These are going to be really tall, hedges for giving you a bit of privacy. Oh, sorry, my Podocarpus is going to fall over. This is a boxwood. Everybody's kind of probably, hopefully familiar with boxwood hedges. There are boxwoods that grow to be about 2 feet high, so you can have a tiny little hedge. Those are gorgeous. Those are the Buxus fruticosa, or the dwarf English boxwoods. Those are a great hedge for a short hedge. If you want something a little bit taller, you can get this variety, Green Tower. It's going to get 8 to 10 feet tall, but it doesn't grow real wide. A lot of the other boxwoods kind of in between will get 6 to 8 feet tall and almost as wide. And again, that's going to take patience. A lot of times people will put the hedges, the boxwoods that'll grow really big, really close together, and then you're going to have that woody hedge look. So if you're just a little patient, buy the right boxwood for the right size and place them far enough apart that they can grow in beautifully and be super lush and green all year round, not stressed, not, everybody having to be watered twice as much because you have twice as many plants there as you need. It's just a better way to plant a boxwood hedge. Now this is a Eyelex sky pencil. This is there are a couple places where people want something tall but maybe quite narrow like this. This is what this plant does. It gets about 6 to 8 feet tall and grows in a nice column. So if you're needing a nice slow growing column that doesn't get too tall, this Eyelex is really good. It likes a little bit of shade. It can take sun, but if you give it just a little bit of afternoon shade, it's probably going to do a little bit better. And I'm going to write all of these plant names and all of their kind of specs a little bit on the websites later. So if you have questions about it, you can certainly ask, but of course I'll answer them a little bit later in more specificity. So this is not a silver sheen. Silver sheen is a plant that a lot of people like to use for a hedge. It doesn't usually do that well after a few years because silver sheens need a lot of air circulation. They don't like to be shoved up against a fence like this because they'll defoliate down here. So if you're going to try and utilize silver sheen as a hedge plant, you need to plant them about 6 feet center to center because they're going to get 6 to 8 feet wide, and they're a teardrop shaped plant that really likes to just kind of spread its wings, so to speak. Now this little guy here is the Pittosporum Oliver Twist. Oliver Twist is a dwarf silver sheen, so it's only going to grow maybe 8 to 12 feet tall, about half the size of a silver sheen, and you can probably keep it a little bit more hedge-like, a little bit easier. So if you haven't heard of Oliver Twist, it's a great one. There are a couple of other growers that do a dwarf silver sheen, more coming onto the market. So I would recommend this a little bit more, but again, give these plants room and make sure that when you're planting them, so if you have your fence, you don't want to plant it right up next to the fence because it will defoliate, not just back here, but also in the front. It needs to have air circulation so that it can grow really well all the way around it. And up here, this is a plant that is used for many things. It can be a freestanding tree like a Pittosporum, or it can be grown as a hedge plant. This is Dodonea purpurea, or purple hop seed bush. This is a really fun, super drought tolerant plant, and it's a great thing because you can do so many different things with it. You can prune it up, you can kind of you can skirt it or pleach it so that it's a little bit more bare underneath, and you can plant things underneath it. but this is a really drought tolerant plant that can just go really big and crazy. And one of the fun things that you can do with this and with a lot of other hedge plants is to mix it with something else. If you like these colors but maybe you don't want a full solid hedge of this, mix it with something else, and I'm gonna show you what you can mix it with in just a minute. One of my favorite things. But so we're going kind of back to this thing of like a wall of green, so you're gonna have just like a mono planting of one plant. With most of these plants over here, that's what we do. But on this side of me are plants that you can sort of mix and get like a different kind of look, rich, a little bit taller, a little bit shorter, a little bit deeper, a little bit more narrow, and then it can be kind of like a rolling hedge. It's kind of fun. And this one is this is Italian buckthorn or rhamnus. This is a great plant, super green, not used enough in my opinion for a hedge. It looks kind of spindly, but it actually gets to be quite large, quite full, and it has beautiful, beautiful shiny green leaves year round. There's also a really, really pretty variegated version of this. Really nice. This one is John Edwards. I just want to it's Italian buckthorn, but the variety is John Edwards. So it's really, really pretty. Really nice. Come on in and take a look at that one. This here, this is part of a different kind of hedge. Again, adding different textures, adding different colors. This is my personal favorite phormium or flax. This is called sea jade. I love the brown stripes on it. I love that the top is the point is a little bit rounded, and it is just gorgeous. And it can fill in, look at it with this Dodonea hedge. You can really kind of build a lot of things. This will get a lot more full after you put it in the ground. It's probably going to get 2 or 3 times more full and just fill in a great spot. They're both drought tolerant. They both carry on the same. Oh my gosh, we have a special guest. She's just showed up. It's Sarah. It's Thursday Sarah. Sarah's I asked her to like maybe show up if she could, just to let you all know we are not the same person. No. We are both video vixens here at Rogers, and we work together. We hang out. So Sarah's gonna like point out which hedge plant do you like the best.
Have you talked about the Vitex?
I have not. I was just getting up to it. So why don't you bring it up?
Look how great this is. I absolutely love Vitex. It is such a beautiful plant. I have a neighbor who planted a hedge of this in front of a black painted fence, and it pops. It's so beautiful. It's got this gorgeous underside to the leaf that's so purple and beautiful, and then in the breeze it like sparkles almost.
It does, and it gets beautiful little purpley pink flowers at the tips. And you can actually make this plant so many different things. You can make it a little patio tree, you can make it a hedge, you can make it a freestanding, you can prune it up a little and just do a lot of amazing things with it. And it's super drought tolerant. Again, it would go really great with this Dodonea.
I love it with grays. I love it on that black fence. It's just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. But with the grays, the Fahoya.
Yeah.
Ooh, did you talk about this one yet?
No, I'm working my way up this way. And I'd already talked about the
my 2 favorites.
So this is Fahoya, or it's actually been reclassified ACA, A-C-C-A, but most people still know it from Fahoya, which is F-E-I-J-O-A, Celoiana. This is pineapple guava. It's a beautiful, beautiful hedge plant. It can be a big, big tree. If you let it grow to its heights, it can get probably 20 feet tall. But a lot of people keep it as a hedge. A lot of people will grow it as a patio tree. You can kind of like lace it out and make it look almost like an olive tree, which we've done here at Rogers.
Yes.
And the flowers are so cute, so adorable.
And the best part,
they're edible.
They're edible.
They are. Amazing. They're edible, and they taste like little marshmallows in your mouth. And the fruit is really good. It's kind of a cross between an apple and a pear. It's got that kind of mealiness of a pear, but the crispness of an apple. They're delicious, and they're really fun to grow.
Okay, I'll stop crashing. So goodbye, everybody.
Can you grab my radio and turn it off?
Thank you. See ya.
Bye,
See you on Thursday.
See you Thursday. That was really nice. That was nice to have a guest appearance. So we are going to talk a little bit about, this is sort of an alternative to your regular Podocarpus. This is Icy Blue Podocarpus. It is a slower growing, it'll still get fairly big, but it's much slower growing. You can see this beautiful blue color, and it's a little bit kind of chunkier. So it's a really, really pretty plant. Very, very contemporary looking. So if you're looking for something that you can kind of keep very spare and clean, this is just a beautiful, beautiful choice, and looks great in pots, looks great in the ground. It really is lovely. And if you can see in back of me, I don't know if you can see in back of me, but that's kind of a bunch of these Podocarpus pulled together to block off the sidewalk. And then this here is kind of, I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to pull it up.
Okay.
So this is Pittosporum Marjorie Shannon. This is my personal favorite Pittosporum. It's variegated. Like most of the Pittosporums, it has these beautiful dark stems. I mean, Pittosporum is gorgeous because of its dark stems, but with Marjorie Shannon and the variegated leaves, it just really, really pops. It's also a lot more, it grows more compact. So while silver sheens are all nice and light and loose, this one it's very compact, and it's I found it can take a lot more shade than regular Pittosporum silver sheens. They need a lot of sun. They all need a lot of water the first year, and then almost you can cut off the water, but Marjorie Shannon can take that shade. So if you wanted to match it with something like this, the waxleaf privet, it's a great combination. They both have those nice shiny green leaves. They are beautiful. Marjorie Shannon also gets a little bit smaller. You can also prune it a little bit easier. It doesn't seem to have a problem with pruning. So, so I've got, this is my last little plant here. This is a olive. So it's an ornamental olive. It is a little ollie. And this one has grown kind of as a little column, a little, it's grown as a shape, and they're calling it a cone. But usually this plant will get 4 to 6 feet tall, and it just grows kind of like a nice little shrub. You can prune it however you like, but this makes a really nice hedge that'll get about 5 feet tall, super drought tolerant, easy to prune. Again, put them like 4 to 5 feet center to center, and you're gonna have a beautiful lush hedge. So that's it for what I have here. I just want to mention there are tons of other plants that you can make into a hedge. Do what you like. You know, if you like other things, mix them, match them, make it look the way that you want, but don't worry about anything other than making sure that you have enough sunlight for them, that you have enough space for them, and that you're going to be watering them deeply to get them established each week, because the best hedge is a super well watered, super well fertilized hedge. I'm going to tell you about my personal favorite hedge, which we don't have in the store right now, but we're hopefully getting some in soon, and if you like it, you can Google it and look it up. But it is a plant called Grewia. It's Grewia. I think it's occidentalis, but it's a plant that many of us have grown up with. It's also called lavender starflower, but it's a plant that can be just a shrub, it can be a hedge, it can be a tree, it can be trellised, it can be anything. But the nice thing about it is that it's one of the hedge plants that you can keep the most narrow. So you can keep it down to almost 6 inches and it will support itself. So I've just planted a ton of it around my house, and looking forward to it getting taller and thicker, but also just providing kind of light privacy. It's really neat. You can almost topiary it against a wall. It can be really beautiful. I urge you to look for that one if you're looking for something that has a lot of flowers. I like it because it brings a lot of bees into the garden. It makes them really happy, but it's also a great privacy hedge that is very, very narrow. A lot of these plants you're going to need 2 to 3 feet minimum just to keep them happy and big and lush. But that's my favorite hedge plant for right now. Let me see my notes. Pruning. Pruning is kind of up to you. You can have it be nice and tight and clean corners. And I just want to give a small shout out to one of my favorite Instagrams to watch if you want to get some really good pruning information. James Todman has a beautiful Instagram, and he's a British, he's a horticulturist, but he does pruning videos, and he does these beautiful pruning videos where he makes balls and boxes and just gorgeous things. Really, really nice if you want to watch a true pruning master at work. But for you and me, keep it easy, keep it light. Try and find a plant that falls within, what you want to do or what your gardener can do. Most of these plants can be hedged really, really easily, but you definitely want to give each plant the space that it needs. That is probably the key to the best hedge around. And that's about it. Do we have questions, Marissa?
No.
Not really.
No.
Okay, that's cool. I hope that you guys all enjoyed this, and I want to encourage you to follow Sarah on Thursdays. We have our Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and rogersgardens.com. Make sure you go there and subscribe and follow us for all of their plant needs. I'll be back next Tuesday.